Hello all, I'm Sai and in today's video I'm bringing to you a bookish unboxing video. I did not buy the books inside this box. I got this box as part of a collaboration that I did with Bookchor a month back. But this video is not part of the collab and I'm just doing this because I know people like unboxings and I also like to watch and do unboxing videos. I'll try to link the Lock the Box website in the description. You can go forward and purchase a box from there if you're interested. So without any further ado, let's get into the video right away. So this is how the box looks from outside, guys. I'm sorry if my voice is on and off a bit because I'm holding the box in front of the mic, so it might be a little bit off. So this is how the box looks, and this is the big box that they have. I'm just going to unbox it now and put a few words. It's super heavy. It's not my first time unboxing a Bookchor box, but still I'm excited, even though I know what books are inside. Just being careful so that I don't end up dripping any book. The packaging is very built with them always, I'm not just saying this because of the collaboration. I have been purchasing from them for years now and every time packaging from them is always great. So these are all the books that I have inside the box, guys. I'll just take them out one by one or together as per author and just show them to you. I'm not going to talk much about these books because I've not read most of them. One or two alone I've read and I just wanted to have a physical copy of them on my shelf. And all of these are used books. Let's just keep that in mind. I'll show you all the books now. So I have a total of 25 books from this box, guys. Of these, 15 books just belong to two different authors alone. I'll talk about those 15 books at last and we'll see the other books first because they are all by different authors. So of these, the first one is this book called The Perfect Wife by J.P. Delaney. It's a thriller and I haven't looked up anything about this book because I have read two other books by this author J.P. Delaney as audiobooks, and one of them, which is Playing Nice, is definitely one of my most favorite thrillers. I know that they would have done a great job writing this one too, so I'm very excited to get into it. You can see the book is a bit big, so yeah, I'm very much into this. There are also two other book covers in the back which are similar to this one. I don't know whether this is part of a series or not. If it is, I think I'll have to look up the other two books too. Otherwise, I'm just going to read this right away as soon as I can. Next, we have a Shadowhunter book. I've had my eye on this book in particular from the Shadowhunter Chronicles for a very, very long time. I started reading the books in 2020. It's been over 5 years now. And only finally now I've gotten this book for myself, which is the Shadowhunters Codex. This need not be read as part of the series. You can read this anytime after you've read like a handful of books from the series. It's basically like a guidebook inside the Shadowhunter world. So I'll be reading this pretty soon. It has a lot of illustrations too, which are beautiful. Next, we have a literary fiction, if I'm not wrong, and it is The Ministry of Utmost Happiness by Arundati Roy. I read Arundati Roy's first book this year, which is The God of Small Things, which is apparently her most popular work too because of the Booker Prize. I think we read it as the book club pick for April this year. After reading that, I want to read her backlist and I want to read her latest release too. I think I will get it sometime before the end of the year. So for now, I have this one, and again, the quality of this one is great. It's a paperback, but it has this kind of French flap, which I just love. I think it makes the paperbacks even more sturdy. So this is book number 3. Next, we have a super popular literary fiction book, and you guys have been asking me to read this for years now. I'm just afraid that I will get very sad after reading this book because I know that this author writes sad stories because they are realistic to the place where he's from, and it is The Kite by Khaled Hosseini. I have read 1,000 Splendid Suns by him and it was wonderful but really, really sad. And I've heard that this is sadder than that one. And funny story, I already have a play format of the same book which I bought last year. So I can go forward and read the story first and then go on and read the play form. I think it might work then. Then we have a book by one of my favorite authors, and it is Unaccustomed Earth by Jhumpa Lahiri. When it comes to Jhumpa Lahiri's books, I just go in for the prose, nothing else. I've not read even one of Jhumpa Lahiri's books so far this year, and I think I will either read this one or the Roland, which I have with me already. I have no other reason, okay? I don't know anything about the book. I don't care whether it is good or not. I know that it is fiction. I'm just going in for the writing of Jhumpa Lahiri because I know she cannot disappoint me in that way at all. So we have this one. Next, we have a novella collection or a short story collection, I'm not sure, and it is Romance and YA, which is Let It Snow by John Green, Maureen Johnson, and Lauren Miracle. I have read both John Green as well as Maureen Johnson, and I've loved all of their books that I've read so far. I think this is one of the few John Green books which I don't have with me, and finally it is getting into my shelf. And the cover is super shiny. I'm not sure whether the camera is capturing it right or not, but it is kind of a metallic light blue and it looks beautiful. So we have Let It Snow. Next, we have the first book inside a literary fiction trilogy that I've been meaning to read for over 5 years again now, and it is Town by Fredrik Backman. I have the sequel to this one, which is Us Against You, but I don't have the finale, which is The Winners, which got released last year. And I know that once I start reading this series, I will not be able to stop and I want to binge through it. Again, I'm planning to get the final book inside the series by the end of the year. Let's just wait and hope it happens. I know it's quite strong, so I want to prep myself mentally before I get into this series or this book in specific. Yet I'm super pumped for it. Next, we have the final book inside a YA companion series, and it is the last book inside the DC Icons series, which is Superman Dawnbreaker by Matt Della Pena. I hope I'm pronouncing the author's name right. This is basically just a young adult retelling of the origin stories of the DC superheroes. I've read the first three superheroes who are Wonder Woman, Batman, and Catwoman. I read all those three books way back in 2019, and finally I'm making my way to ending the series with this one this year. Again, super pumped for this one. And with my experience of having read the other books inside the series, I hope this to be just as good as the other three. And another interesting fact about the series is that each and every book inside the series is written by a different author, and I've not read anything by this author before this one, so I have really high hopes for it. Next, we have the second book inside a YA sci-fi series. I read the first book last year in January, and it is Scarlet by Marissa, Meyer, which is the second book inside the Lunar Chronicles quartet. I read Cinder by the author, which is a retelling of the Cinderella story, but where Cinderella is a cyborg. And if I'm not wrong, Scarlet is also a cyborg here, and this is the sci-fi retelling of Little Red Riding Hood's story. I like that first book very much. It was very, very different. I want to go back and reread it though. I'm hoping to finish the series sometime by the end of next year. Let's wait and see when it's going to happen. And finally, we have a mystery book, and it is by basically the most popular author inside the genre, which is Death on the Nile by Agatha Christie. Personally, I've read only one Agatha Christie book so far, okay, and it is And Then There Were None. It's been over 5 years since I read that book, and by this point, I have almost forgotten everything from it, but I remember the experience of reading that book and enjoying it very much. Being a person who reads a lot of books, I'm quite astonished to the fact that I have not read many Agatha Christie books so far. So I want to get into that wagon and see what all the hype is about. So I just chose this one. The book's cover also looks very vintage. So we have Death on the Nile by Agatha Christie. So those are the 10 books by 10 different authors, which I wanted to talk about first. Now I'm going to talk about the next two sets of books which are just written by two authors alone. Of these, the first author is Neil Gaiman. The reason why I went forward and selected a lot of his books is because I read American Gods and Anansi Boys by him in October, and I did like both of those books very much. Some of the things inside the books felt unnecessary, but as a whole, the books were really, really nice and different to read in fantasy. So I want to read more of Gaiman in that particular manner. I have 5 books in total. Of these, the first one is one which I've already read, which is Stardust. I've read the graphic novel version of this one, and it had the exact story as such. If I'm not wrong, this is a novella. It's not huge. It's very, very tiny, and it's also standalone fantasy. So if you're someone who likes fantasy that is kind of fairy tale-ish but also a little bit dark, you can definitely go forward and try this one. It is really, really good. Next, we have Neil Gaiman's Norse mythology. This one also I've read way back in 2019, I think, as the audiobook, and the author himself narrates his audiobooks, which makes his audiobooks really, really good. I know that there are a lot of allegations on him, and I am aware of them. That's why I did not go forward and spend my money buying his books. I just got the used copies of them. I have read Norse mythology, and I cannot deny the fact that I enjoyed this very much, and I want to read it. Even this edition looks very beautiful. It looks better than the black cover, because I think the black cover looks a bit more generic compared to this one. So I do like this one better because it has white and gold together on it, which makes it even more beautiful to look. The next 3 books by him, which I'm going to show inside this video, are those which I have not much idea about, but I want to go forward and read them because I have heard really good things about them. Of these, the first one is The Ocean at the End of the Lane, and this is kind of like an autobiographical fiction of the author, but based on some incidents from his childhood alone. I've heard really, really good things about this book, and if I end up liking this one, I might go forward and get illustrated edition of this one because I've seen that it is very pretty. Even this edition, even though it looks very generic, it looks beautiful for some reason for me. And next we have Neverwhere by the same author. Again, the cover of this one is really, really pretty. There's a rat on the cover, and I'm very allergic to rat. I don't know, they just disgust me, okay? I'm not frightened, but I am very much disgusted by rats. That's just a side fact. We have Neverwhere by the author. The cover looks beautiful though again. And finally, by Neil Gaiman, we have Fragile Things. If I'm not wrong, this is a collection of short stories by the author, and I've not read anything which is short and length by Neil Gaiman before this one, except for the novella, which is Stardust. I've not read any of his graphic novels also, if I'm not wrong. So this might be a new territory for me to go forward and explore. Again, just look at the cover. I'm not sure whether my camera captures it or not, but it has metallic tinges here and there, and this leaf and its paints here are metallic red, which just looks very pretty. Finally, the 10 books by one author, which I went forward and filled inside the box, okay? Just think about how good this author's writing must be for me to go forward and fill almost half of the box with just their books. And the author that I'm talking about is a Brazilian author, and he is Paulo Coelho. I read like only 2 or 3 books by Paulo Coelho so far, and I've liked each and every one of them, except for his latest release, which was Mark II, if I'm not wrong. I did not like that book much, but the other 2 which I read by him, Shippy as well as The Alchemist, were great. Alchemist was good, and Hippie was amazing. So in that trend, I went forward and got 10 of his books alone because I want to make a video specifically about Paulo Coelho's books alone. The 10 books that I got are the Zahir, and if I'm not wrong, this also has something to do with his own life, and it is kind of autobiographical fiction, just like the way Hippie was. Hippie just says like a small part of his life, and if I'm not wrong, the Zahir also talks about a section of his life and not its entirety. Next, we have The Devil and Miss Prymm. We have a sticker on the cover, which is annoying, but despite that, the book is really, really good in condition. It's very thin, so I think I can finish reading this in a single sitting if I sit down and try. Next, we have The Fifth Mountain. Again, a very, very thin book. It looks really, really great in condition though. And I have heard certain people talking about this book on the internet, and I've heard only really positive things about it. Not many people have said bad things about this particular book by Paulo Coelho that I've heard of so far. And the cover of the book for some reason is very much intriguing for me because it gives me kind of a misty mountainous kind of mood. I don't know if it's because of the title of the book or something. If you know anything about the book, please do let me know in the comments, but without spoilers. Next, we have Aleph by the same author. Again, just see this cover. It's beautiful. It's not an illustrated cover or anything, but just the kind of mood that it carries is very mystical. It makes me want to go forward and start reading this right away. It smells great, and it's also a floppy paperback. Just look how beautifully it opens to the spine. I think I just saw a map inside. I don't want to go forward and spoil myself, but just look at the cover. It looks beautiful. Usually I don't like actual human beings on covers, but this cover just looks amazing, guys. She looks like a performer or something because she has hoops in her hand and around her legs. Then we have Veronika Decides to Die, which is again a very short book, and I've heard really, really great things about this book. Okay, it's about a person who's suicidal, if I'm not wrong, and I know that when it comes to Paulo Coelho stories, he's not going to say any story in a normal way at all. He's going to have them really beautifully spiritual, philosophical, and I've always felt this experience of slipping into a trance when I'm reading Paulo Coelho's books, and I hope this will also give the same kind of mood, and I hope it will not depress me also. Just see how beautiful the cover is again. I usually don't like these kind of covers, but for some reason they are very appealing to me when it comes to Paulo Coelho alone. Next, we have The Pilgrimage, and if I'm not wrong, this is kind of a companion to the Zahir as well as the Hippie by the same author, and I don't know, the covers of most of these books look very similar, and I hope I'll be able to distinguish between the stories as I read them because the covers look very, very similar. Again, it is really nice, very mystical. I think they are going with kind of a mood for his book covers because they just deliver that mood perfectly well. Then we have Manual of the Warrior of Light. It's really, really good in condition. The edges are a bit yellow, but apart from that, the condition of the book is great. It is a thick book. Okay, I think this is the biggest of all the books by Paulo Coelho that I have with me right now, and again, smells really great. Okay, one of the best things about used books apart from their price is the way they smell. I don't think anything smells better as it gets old like books do, and I can just smell them here. Next, we have a very long title which is ridiculous, and it is By the River Piedra I Sat Down and Wept. I don't know how I'm supposed to say that before I even go forward and read the book. It has again a bad sticker here. Apart from that, the condition of the book is really good. I know that Paulo Coelho has written a lot more than just these 10 books that I'm showing on the video, and I want to get to them all as soon as I can, but I think this is a good way to start. Again, see this cover, it is very beautiful. Next, we have the most cinematic of all the covers inside this box, and it is The Valkyries by the author again. And I again don't know what this book is exactly about. Is it about the actual Valkyries from mythology, or is it some kind of symbolism? I don't know, but I am again very much intrigued by this cover. All of them have nature backdrops, you see, and there is at least one mountain each and every time. Even the back side of the book and its spine looks very beautiful. I will be getting to this very soon. Again, a very, very short book. Finally, the last Paulo Coelho book as well as the last book inside this unboxing is the book which I'm most interested in reading of all the 25 books inside this box. And I think I will be reading this in October itself. Let's wait and see. And it is Piedra by Paulo Coelho. I've heard great, amazing things about Piedra from everyone on the internet. Literally everyone who's talked about Piedra has said only really, great things about it. The cover looks very nice. Okay, again, it's the picture of a person, but it is kind of mysterious, and I want to know who Piedra is, what her story is all about. I know that I can go forward and read the blurb from the back covers, guys, but I chose not to because I want to go in and experience the stories written by this person without knowing anything. I think that's the best way to go into Paulo Coelho's books in specific at least. So at last we have Piedra. This is also a big paperback, so I think it will be easier to just sit down and read. So yeah, that's the final book inside the box. So yes guys, those are all the 25 books which I got inside the box from Lock the Box. If you've read any of the 25 books that I've talked about in this video, please do let me know down in the comments, especially the 10 books by Paulo Coelho which I've showed here, because I want to read more of his books and I want to discuss them with you guys. So if you've read any of those books, please do tell me your opinions of them, or if you have any suggestions for me to read them in any particular order, tell me that too in the comments, because I'd like to follow some suggestions from you, because you guys always give the great kind of reading experience for me. And I do hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. And if you want to get more content from me, do subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching and have a great rest of your day.